following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Seriously.
It's time for The Lunch Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Nick Eatman, Brian Broaddus, Taylor Stern, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Tuesday, December 13th, 2016, Season 12, Episode number 102, and this is another edition of The Break. I'm Derek Eagleton, joined by Nick Eatman, Brian Broaddus, and Taylor Stern. We're live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Big Picture Tuesday is what it is. We're going to talk about what's going on around the NFL, what's going on around the NFC East, how it all fits for the Cowboys. We have a couple of news items we're going to hit as well, and try to get you guys all ready for this upcoming game, Cowboys versus the Buccaneers, which we'll dive in much deeper tomorrow and Thursday. How's everybody this morning?
Fantastic.
Rolling
How are
well,
you?
yeah.
We are at the Star. It's
It's a little foggy
a little
out
foggy,
there
looking a little bit weird outside, a little eerie, but hey, you know, it's all good. All right, let's jump right in. I want to talk first about, before we get into some of the big picture things, I do think we should talk a little bit about Darren McFadden. We mentioned it yesterday. Jerry talked about it again this morning, that there's an expectation he's going to be activated today. And the question I'll toss to you guys, who are some of the candidates because they're going to have to make a roster move. Somebody's going to have to come off the roster. Who are some of the candidates that you guys will be looking at as guys that potentially will be, I guess, cut in order for them to make room for Darren McFadden?
Well,
Say it.
I don't think you should have this many running backs. So it needs to be a running back, in my opinion. I'm going to go with a running back that doesn't play special teams. So I would cut Alfred Morris.
The depressing. He's so awesome.
Hurt your feelings?
Yeah, he's the best.
That's who I would cut because, I mean, as much of a pro as he is, he definitely is. And he's handled this whole situation like the best way ever. His attitude and approach is better than you can imagine. But it's a production league, and I think McFadden would give him more than what Morris gives. But
Yeah, I think I think Alfred Morris does make sense. I thought about putting Chaz Green on injured reserve as a possibility.
That's not a bad possibility.
I was thinking of an injured
It's
player, but
amazing.
I couldn't think of one that
Yeah,
would go
but
on
Chaz Green, if
reserve.
it's a back and all that. But the problem they run into, and I keep saying this, is Emmett Cleary would have to play. And I think that weighs in their mind a little bit. Do you go ahead and, to be honest with you, thinking further down the line, Lyle Collins is not ready till probably the first playoff game, to even get work. So they're in a little bit of bind if you're starting to think about an offensive tackle. They realize, trust me, they realize what they have in Emmett Cleary. They're seeing Emmett Cleary as a Band-Aid, and that's okay. I mean that you got to figure that out, but they want him. They don't want to put Green down because of Cleary. So in a roundabout way, Morris makes a lot of sense.
There's three young players that aren't doing anything for you that I think.
Can I throw another one out there? This guy to me is a progress stopper. If you think about getting a guy ready to play, I think Markin Sacha is ready to play. I would consider cutting Andrew Gatchcard.
He is actually under cognitive evaluation currently after being injured late in the fourth quarter on Sunday night.
Gatchkar?
Yeah, yes. I would look at Andrew Gatchcard because to me,
Cut him when he's hurt though.
Well, see, Rich Bisaccia is probably not going to do that. But Andrew Gatchcard's not going to be on this team next year. Markin Sacha is. Why don't you play Markin Sacha? Markin Sacha dressed for the game the other day and didn't see a snap, special teams or on defense. Him and Tony Romo were the only two players that did not see any action. So why would you think about maybe putting a young guy out there, getting him in some experience like you've done Damian Wilson? Get him going. If Markin Sacha is not going to be, if Andrew Gatchkar, maybe you go ahead and make the move right now, get that one guy up to play, get him experience, but then you also get your runner, who everybody feels like the runner is necessary. The runner might necessarily take, because right now we talked about this. You put Dunbar on the field, he's blitz protect guy. They're not going to get him out of the backfield because teams are just going to keep blitzing him to make him have to protect. So you better put somebody out there that's a threat if you blitz to pick up, but also get the ball outside. Yeah. So that's the problem they're running into right now.
I have a question. So also with that news, Jalen Smith is being moved to season-ending IR. Now, have we used the IR position that's designated to return? Is it too late for that?
You don't have to have – there isn't a designation. You can put guys on IR, and whatever point you have one guy you can bring back. So you don't have to designate him. That's the way it was a couple of years ago. You had to designate what guy you were going to put there. But you can put whatever guy on all the guys on IR and then decide who you want to put.
You got Tapper.
Could we do that? Oh, you already –
Well, you have Tapper and then potentially – and then Collins.
Okay, because I was curious if maybe Mo Claiborne might be that guy. I don't know when he's ready.
But if you put him on IR, he's got to be there for 8 weeks, right?
Yeah, they've been carrying.
At this point, if you put somebody on IR, at this point, they're not going to be the designated.
You're almost home with Mo.
All right,
you're getting Mo back to Detroit.
That if you could kind of do it for these, last couple weeks in the season, playoffs, he's ready, he can go.
Yeah.
Then you make that other decision at that point when you're going into the playoff push.
Yeah, at this point, I would guess, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, I would guess La'el Collins is going to be your guy, assuming all continues as it's going.
I just don't get the feeling Tapper. I just don't get the feeling. I don't see them pushing Tapper along. Right. This is really they're actually pushing La'el Collins along. This is a pretty significant injury for him.
Right.
A 4 or 5 month injury. Then they're trying to get him ready because again they know the situation at tackle, and not that he would play tackle, but he could be the swing guard.
Yep.
And then they could move Martin outside. That would be your plan.
Right.
A lot of people are upset because you're talking about how much you hate Emmett Cleary. And not hate, but, you're disappointed in his play.
I think it would be a disaster if he played.
Joe Looney.
Well, Joe Looney's not a tackle.
Yeah, but that's what they're confused about, I guess.
Yeah, Joe Looney's a guard center. You need Joe Looney. If Joe Looney couldn't play center, then you might move him along. That's the thing about it is, do you feel – like could Martin be your center, be your backup center? Yeah, sure he could. But the only reason Looney's here, in my opinion, is because he's a center.
Well, the thing about it is right now, most of his playing is coming as a third tight end, I guess, essentially. Yeah. They're putting him in there when they want to have what typically would be a 3 tight end set without Swaim, and because I don't think they're really that inclined to want to have or even for 2 tight end set, I guess at this point, they don't want to have 89 out there. And so they're using Looney more and more as that extra what would have been a tight end. And, it's with mixed results. I don't think he's been great at it, but it's kind of mixed results there.
Well, your offense has struggled also because you're not as dynamic because it's not a 12 personnel.
Not a true 12, right?
Yeah, and not that Escobar is going to, light up defenses down the field, but at least he can get, he can make plays. Well, he can't really make plays, but
how are you going to phrase this? Let's see.
Well, he's a tight end, and he can get somewhat down the field and maybe make a catch or two every.
At least defenses have to respect the fact that he can go downfield
more than you would with Looney.
I would consider using Vince Mailey more. If it was me. I watched Vince Mailey on the crack toss a couple of different times. The 13-yard run they had. I mean, he's a big-bodied guy. Lucky goes flying in there, and it's like shooting tennis balls off a tank. He's bouncing off guys and stuff like that. That's a big body that Vince Mailey's standing there and capturing the edge. So if you want to play with some more 12 personnel stuff, maybe you could put him on the backside and some things like that. Maybe you don't have to put him as an inline guy. You could put him as a wing and use him that way, and then put Witten as your inline guy. But I think that to me that's where they're hurting a little bit with the loss of Swaim.
With both Hannah and Swaim out, I think they've been severely compromised when it comes to 12 and 13 personnel.
Right.
And I think, and you and I talked about this yesterday, I mean, it's pretty clear where their most success on offense comes is when they're in 11 personnel.
Right.
I would opt to do a lot more of that and less of the 12 and 13 because they've just been compromised. Yeah. Injuries have compromised them.
Yeah, they need to get back to really running the football again. I mean, they've against Minnesota, they really – they tried a little bit, got away from that. I mean, we've talked about second down, one of the best second down teams in the league. They've struggled with that, but they need to get a little bit back to their identity of hammering the ball if they could.
Yeah. One other name I want to throw out to you guys, is there any possibility the Cowboys could look at a guy like Kayvon Frazier and maybe get him back to the practice squad possibly and that be the guy.
That's what I was saying. There's 3 young players that aren't doing anything for you that you don't want to let go of. One of them is Frazier, one of them is Nazacha, and also Darius Jackson. Those 3 guys right there. And I think that we're kind of talking about guys at that position, like he said about Gatchkar. We've said, Morris maybe is a guy he wouldn't stop progress for Darius Jackson. There's just too much at that position. If Wilcox wasn't playing a little bit better, you could look at that situation too and go, all right, well, what does J.J. Wilcox really do for you from a long-term standpoint? But he has played better, and I don't think you want to let him go right now.
We're expecting he's going to be back this week?
Yeah, I thought last week I was talking big that he was going to be back and practicing and all that stuff. So, yeah, we'll see how it all plays tomorrow. I'll do some further checking on that, but I was dead wrong about him from last week.
To answer your question, I think you could get him back, but
Frazier.
Yeah, I think you could. But
the thing you worry about this time of year in Week 14 is teams are looking at their 2017 roster,
Right.
and I'm a bad general manager at Jacksonville right now. I'm a bad general manager in Cleveland, and I'm looking at my team and I'm going, well, I could pick up this guy who was maybe he's a 4th round name on my board. And Dallas has been carrying him the whole year. They must like him for something.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you
take a look, right?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have any warts on him right now. He hasn't played in any games. Maybe it's an opportunity where you go ahead, you claim a guy like that. He plays 3 weeks, and the next thing you know, it's like, hey, this is going to keep us from drafting a backup running back, or this is going to keep us from drafting a backup safety. I would be real leery about cutting young players this time of year, especially when bad teams are out there looking for their 2017 rosters.
And you've already got one practice squad guy that's making pretty much NFL minimum, Enrico Gathers.
He's absolutely doing that, yes.
Can't really pay more, money to a guy to say, hey, stay on our practice squad. So
Yeah, see, the funny thing for me, I understand what you guys are saying with Darius Jackson and Kayvon Frazier, and I agree. I just obviously don't know what you have in Darius Jackson. You saw a little bit in training camp and preseason, but you know what you have in Alfred Morris. That's the thing. I mean, he's a 1,000-yard rusher. He's still young, just turned 28 yesterday. Mm-hmm. So he's still a young guy. Granted, he is under contract until next year. Very team-friendly contract, not a huge deal. But if you did kind of take the risk with Darius Jackson, someone that's kind of, might be a bridge player if you hope to have Ezekiel Elliott for as long as you want him to be on his rookie contract.
I mean, do you think that Darius Jackson would be picked up by someone?
Yes.
I do too. Do you think Alfred Morris would be?
No.
I think
don't.
he'll be available to you.
No, but he'll be because he's a vested veteran. He'd have to go through waivers, so somebody could claim him. Yeah, maybe it's a team that doesn't have. Who's got a bad? Every time I look up and watch Green Bay play, they're handing the ball to a number 88.
The Seahawks could look at him and be like, that could be a guy with Rawls being kind of iffy on injuries. That's a guy.
Teams that are struggling a little bit at running back right now.
Green Bay, you're right.
That might need a backup guy. Just to say, hey, you even said
Broncos might be.
He's a good guy, good teammate, fits into the locker room. Everybody loves the guy.
And just a vet. He's had some experience, does some good things in the league. So, that's a good point.
And he's probably developed a little bit better because they've made him have to be a pass blocker, and he's developed into a little bit of a catcher, but he's not a complete guy.
We could be dead wrong on this. I mean, that's just what I would do about Alfred Morris. I don't really think if someone just turned on the show and they're cutting Alfred Morris, I mean, I'd be surprised if they do that.
I'll tell you this, if we're talking roles, I'm still a believer that I think the role, I know special teams is the difference. That's the part that is the difference. But I think when you talk about in the backfield and what he's doing on the offense, I think McFadden would be an upgrade as the third down back.
If you're going to play with a third down back.
Exactly. I think McFadden would
the
be
most complete one,
because he can do all the thing you want him to do.
We've seen him
guess
do
what?
that.
If he slips out, what?
Did you just cut Dunbar and didn't say his name?
Yeah, why?
That's clever. I like that.
Cold.
I like how you did.
What was I supposed to say?
No, I like how you
said
did
it for me, Dunbar.
I
Yes.
know.
Well,
but just like that.
And Derek, I think you're right. And
I like it, Derek.
That would be an
too.
upgrade.
Very
I think that would be. I think that would be.
He's
an
not
upgrade.
on this team next year either. He's only under a 1-year contract too. So there's a lot of points to that, and they figured out how to manage special teams while he was out with injury. So they might feel comfortable. Hey, it's we're gonna have to patch that hole. But they obviously did that when he was out with injury for, I think, 2 games. Was it 2 games?
You know what I'd really like to see? I'd really like them to see them get to a point where Ezekiel Elliott is their every down back, and he's out there.
Yeah.
And the only time
think a lot of people would.
And the only time he comes out is when he needs a break. And
Yeah.
you give him a break when he needs a break,
Yeah.
but then you get him right back in there. Because I think he is the best at all those different things. I
no
saw
doubt
Nick,
about
remember
that.
I pointed out to you with the blitz pickup he had. He
yeah.
basically flipped a linebacker
Yeah.
who's coming in. I mean, this guy, he could do it all. Why take him off the field unless he needs a break?
Is Lucky Whitehead out of the woods yet?
That's
I don't know. That's a
possibility,
question for
too.
Jason. I don't know.
And he was asked that yesterday.
I didn't
about-
get the feeling in that little
his
that question
role.
that he didn't come out and basically
He
say,
said we'll see about that.
"We'll see about that." Yeah.
Well, he probably is going to have some stipulations
Now-
for young Mr. Whitehead. And
He
we'll see how
also
that goes.
said-
Taylor follow him around and make sure his social's okay.
That's what I'll be doing.
Well,
Really, we need to go home. It's
Fall
3:20. I got to work tomorrow.
Way past my
You have to
bedtime.
work
That's
tomorrow.
Taylor, way
I have to
past
work
my
tomorrow. Let's go.
hey,
Yeah.
if anything, he's the only guy on the team that had a job in the summer, so he can fall back on that, right?
Popeyes is always there for him.
Yeah, I guess.
Good place.
Or Lucky Charms nowadays.
That's true. They're sending him stuff.
Jeez.
Jason said yesterday after the press conference. We talked a little bit, just in the
Best time to
walk-off.
talk to him.
Right. He basically said that your premise because there was a question asked to him 27 different ways about could you have to cut one of these 5 running backs? Wouldn't that be too many? And he basically said your premise is right there. Let's just see how it goes. So I got the sense he was saying, yeah, we're gonna have to let go of one of these running backs. Yeah. But
And I think those are the
Which
only 2
one?
candidates. I don't think at this point they're ready to let go of Jackson just because I honestly think
He's my
next year.
backup next
I honestly think going into next year he's going to be your backup. I
Yeah,
think.
you don't.
So he's not an option. Zeke's not an option. So it would be one of the other 2, right?
he's my third running back next year because I'm gonna probably draft one in the 3rd or 4th round.
If I draft one, I'm still probably putting him behind.
And Dunbar's
I think
not on
Jackson's going to
contract.
earn the backup job.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and I hate to say this because I think the guy's great, and I'm not trying to scare anyone, especially if they're going to buy his jersey. But I mean, with Zeke, the way he is, and what we've already seen from him, the way his running style is, the way his running style is on the field, off the field, I think you have to have another guy in there just to help you.
Honestly, and I think Darius Jackson will be that guy. I really do believe Darius Jackson will be that guy. I'm not entertaining.
Oh, he's
The
a.
flyer.
I'm not
You're back.
implying
He
anything.
just said the
You're
guy.
absolutely
He just said the guy
implying
runs the ball well and runs the streets well. That's what he
That's
just said.
basically what he said. Yeah. So, but I'm not going there.
Well,
I'm
we've
not going
seen
there.
that. I mean,
I'm not going there with you.
DMZ shows us that,
But I think you're right from the standpoint that
Protect yourself.
You're gonna need
protect
somebody to
yourself.
be there, and I
Yeah.
think Darius Jackson can be there. I thought
do too.
what we saw from him
I
as
like
a
him.
rookie in training camp and in preseason, I thought suggested that this guy can be a really.
That's
good
what they're
running back.
thinking about.
Yeah.
That's what they've been thinking.
They
about.
had a lot of high hopes for him when they got him. I mean, they really
they've
thought
invested.
they got a steal.
Yeah, they've invested. They've invested the time and the research. They've tried to get him ready. Everybody's happy with him. By
Yeah.
the way, you talk to people, it's like a guy comes to work, smile on his face, does his job, no problems. Scout team rep say when it comes to Sunday, hey, you're inactive, and he's like, okay, puts on his sweats and goes and stands there and watch.
Claps.
Yeah, that's
Good.
what. Yeah, wave a towel,
He needs
whatever you have
some
to
clappers.
do. Yeah, but see now the protection comes McFadden. McFadden's your protection for if something happens in December and you feel like that. Okay, we can be okay because, like Derek said, you got your complete.
And-
Is this a contract year for McFadden?
yes.
Yeah.
He had a 2-year deal, and I was told by a couple of people maybe a month ago what I was saying and jokingly kind of implying about Zeke. But let's be honest, there were some talks about that. The NFL is not.
They're not giving up.
They haven't closed the door on certain things, and I think McFadden was kind of here partially for that reason as well, just in case anything were to happen. And that's not to say that, I mean, even if a guy like Zeke got hurt, knock on wood, but I'm just saying you have guys here for that reason, and it was a situation where he could be on this list, and now he's able to play for you.
Think about moving on the guys that aren't going to be here in 2017. That's what you got to think about right there.
But
All right.
one of them is coming on the team today.
Exactly.
That's McFadden,
Right.
who I don't think is going to be in 17. So there's exceptions, but
And he's your hired gun for the last month and for the run.
And I think that's a good hired gun to have.
Yep.
He's the kind of guy that you bring him in.
He's fresh, ready to
he's
roll.
fresh. He can give you a little bit here and there.
Got the bit between his teeth.
Exactly.
Looking for a job next year. Absolutely.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
All right, let's take our first break. We'll come back. I do want to talk a little bit about the Cowboys playoff scenario, some of the teams that are sitting below them in the NFC East as well as throughout the NFC, and figure out what the Cowboys have to do in order to wrap everything up. We'll do that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Let's say you're a person.
I'm a person.
A person who switched to AT&T and got up to $650 in credits when you traded in your current smartphone and bought a new one on AT&T Next.
I sure did.
And use it to stream competitive eating videos.
Oh, that's him.
Sorry, can't talk. I'm training.
Get up to $650 in credits per line when you switch to AT&T. Trade in your current phone and buy a new one on AT&T Next. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Switch off a limited time. Each line requires eligible port-in, trade-in, purchase, and service. Get minimum of $10 trade-in credit plus prepaid card and amount of device balance or early termination fee less trade-in.
Hey, Cowboys fans. Did you know that over the next few years, more than 1 million service members will transition from military to civilian life? Veterans face unique challenges when they get out of the military, and Bank of America and the Dallas Cowboys are teaming up to help with financial education, career opportunities, and support of military nonprofits and organizations locally in North Texas and across the country. We're proud to support our troops and are deeply grateful for the dedication and sacrifice of our service members and veterans. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys, invites you to join us in our efforts to get involved by tagging game day photos on social media using hashtag TroopThanks, that's hashtag TroopThanks, and by learning more about our commitment to veterans at bankofamerica.com/military support. Together, we can thank our troops in ways that make a real difference.
Copyright 2016, Bank of America Corporation.
I went to my first Cowboy football game at the Cotton Bowl when I was 10 years old. I've been a Cowboy fan ever since, in the Super Bowl years and the not-so-good ones. Teamwork is what makes winners. At the law office of Domingo Garcia, we play as a team to win your case. If you have been hurt in a car or truck accident, injured on the job, call the law office of Domingo Garcia and join our winning team. With offices in Dallas, Houston, Austin, Odessa, and Tyler, we can help you in Texas. Call 214-941-8300. 214-941-8300.
Back to the lunch break.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. And right now, let's get into a little bit of talk on the NFC East and the NFC. Cowboys right now sit atop the NFC at 11-2. As we sit, the second seed in the playoffs would be Detroit, who is at 8-4. And then 9-4. 9-4.
Yeah.
And third seed, you got Seattle at 8-4-1. And fourth seed, Atlanta at 8-5. Then at the fifth seed, which would be the wild card, you got the Giants at 9-4. And at the sixth seed, Tampa Bay at 8-5. Interesting thing is, two of those teams Cowboys will face now in the final three games. You've got Detroit coming up this weekend, and then Tampa Bay the week after that. Cowboys at this weekend have the ability, basically, as you said yesterday, Nick, there are two things. The magic number is 2. Two good things have to happen for the Cowboys in order for them to clinch the NFC. This weekend, they could win and New York lose to Detroit.
You'll know that going into the game.
Yeah. You will know that going into the game. That will give them the opportunity to win the NFC East. And then you could wrap up home field advantage throughout the playoffs the following week with another win. They would come at a tough price because, obviously, again, you're playing two teams that are already right now in the playoffs and are looking like really good teams. But that's kind of where you sit. Question for you guys is, looking at the NFC and particularly the teams that are in the playoffs right now, are you still, I know I've asked this question the last couple weeks, are you still on the same teams as the teams you're most concerned with the Cowboys playing, or do you think there are some other players in the mix now that you're more concerned about?
Well, I think, the way that they've struggled here against a really good physical defenses, though, I think that Seattle's a team that you're going to be worried about. I think Detroit.
Did anything about last weekend change your opinion about Seattle at all?
Not really. I know that they went up there and didn't. They got bombed by a good.
They're missing that safety.
I was just about to say that. Yeah,
that safety is going to hurt them.
Yeah, I think playing in the. I think all of them. Whoever gets in. I think is playing well. For different reasons, because there's going to be teams that could outscore you. I think Atlanta's a team that still has always worried me just by the way that they play, and if Julio Jones can get get going. I mean, they scored, 42, 45 points
without him.
I think that's interesting, to see just what they're going to do. So I think really any of those 6, 7 they get in. I mean, even right now the teams on the outside, which I think are Washington and Green Bay.
7th seed right now is Washington. 8th is Minnesota. 9th is Green Bay. So Green Bay has 2 teams ahead of them. And in Green Bay, it's kind of scary to me just because, I know, Brian, you've been on this for the last few weeks, but their offense is starting to look like what you would expect the Green Bay offense to look like. And they're putting up points at this point. So that does tend to scare me a little bit.
Yeah, they're going to have to. They've got at Chicago, Minnesota at home, and at Detroit.
All division
games. And then
2 of them on the road.
Yeah, you said they've got Minnesota ahead of them, so that's one team they can maybe take care of right there. But, I tell you what, Detroit's in this fight. I think you can eliminate Tampa Bay this weekend if you beat them.
Out of the playoffs?
I think you can. I don't know.
They would then be 8-6, assuming.
Yeah, I think that would hurt them.
Assuming Washington, Minnesota, Green Bay win, then yes, they'd then be out for the moment. Now, of course, that would be.
See, that's what I'm saying. That they would go at New Orleans
and then home against Carolina.
Maybe that gets them. But I just had a feeling that they would be one game short. I just kind of with the Buccaneers, but I worry about Green Bay being that 6th seed. Because I think Green Bay can go and travel somewhere. Now Rodgers is compromised a little bit. What's the calf situation with him? He's dealing with the hamstring.
Now, from what I understand, he sustained that injury early in that game and still played the entire game.
Yeah.
Played well. So I'm not sure what the injury status is now, but it seems like he played through it for most of that.
Well, the last like 10 minutes of the game, Huntley came in. Huntley.
Brett Hundley.
Yeah, came into the game. So yeah, we need to see how that all shakes out.
Yeah, and Green Bay. I mean, they have 2 division matchups left. They have Minnesota, Detroit, but they play Chicago next week too.
Yeah.
Oh, they have all
3.
All three. Yeah,
all three.
Yeah. Chicago played hard the other day in that game at Detroit. You had a chance, just couldn't get it done. But if you're expecting teams to help you. Now, I mean, the good thing about it is all these division games are playing against each other. Washington's having to play. The Giants are having to play. Detroit's having to play. They're all having to play. So it's not like somebody's got Cleveland on the schedule, or somebody like that, or Jacksonville that they can roll,
Honestly, I think of all these teams that we're talking about, I think Atlanta probably has the easiest schedule.
They do.
But the others that have easier schedules, you look at Minnesota, who has that game against Green Bay at Green Bay. But other than that, they play Indianapolis at home and Chicago at home.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems like a manageable final 3 games. And then Washington has Carolina at home. Then they go on the road to Chicago, and then they're home against the Giants again. Somewhat manageable, the Giants being the one of those teams that's even a playoff team. So that's another team that has a schedule down the stretch that could be a little bit easier.
Derek, you said something about this week they could get home field advantage.
No.
Next week.
Next week, 2. They need another game in order to do that.
I'm trying to figure out why that would be. Why they couldn't get that this week?
Because your assumption is that New York would lose to Detroit, which means then Detroit
would get another
4.
There.
Cowboys would then be 12-2, so they'd both be.
You can't get them both,
right? And then Detroit would play the Cowboys, right? Yeah. So I don't think you can sew that up until the following.
They're 9-4.
They're 9-4 right now, yeah.
You'd be 12-1, yeah.
Right.
And then I don't know what the tiebreaker would be. Okay, that makes sense.
The head-to-head would happen next week. So
and then if you lost them all,
if you lose to Detroit, then Detroit would then have the head-to-head.
I was curious on why they couldn't get both of them when they could have got it last week, and that's why that so many people. That's why that story we put up yesterday surprises so many people because you just think, well, if last week we could have won the division in the first round.
So
bye.
it just goes next week.
Why couldn't we get it this week? And you need the Giants to help you there.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember last year the 10-6 Jets, who they came in here on December 19th, beat the Cowboys, thought they were on their road to the playoffs with Fitzpatrick, and then it all came down to that Buffalo Steelers game.
Yeah,
and they didn't get into the playoffs.
Well, the one thing that you are in. That's you're in the playoff.
Grace,
yeah, you just figure out a way. I've been trying to get this thing to 12 games. I mean, I felt like that if you got to 12 games, you could at least get that bye. That's what I was been thinking all along. So
wouldn't you thought I guess if you do get to 12 games, you win the division, but you don't necessarily.
No, you don't. That's the thing about it is, I mean, that Giant loss was giant.
Well, at this point, if you get 12
Pun
wins,
intended.
Going back here again. Tell me again why the Cowboys wouldn't have. I mean, you wouldn't get a first round bye because I know Detroit's there, but who else? There's 2 byes, so who else?
Because you don't know yet if you're going to win the division.
But I'm saying if the Detroit beats the Giants and you win,
I got you.
I'm saying wouldn't you definitely clinch a first round bye, even if it's with Detroit? Now, not home field throughout because you'd be tied with Detroit. And
right.
You don't know, but I'm saying you definitely clinch a first round bye. Did you say that?
I did not, but actually, I see where you're going. You're saying that Seattle right now is the only other team that they would still be at the best this week. They'd be 9-4-1, which means they couldn't get to if you lost those final 2 games.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you lost those final 2 games, you would still be at 5 losses, right?
No. So this is assuming the Cowboys
4 losses. I'm sorry,
win this
4
game.
losses.
Yeah, you get NFL.com in front of you.
There you go. So yes, they could wrap it up, assuming that they win this weekend. And Detroit wins. They could get a bye, but not home field advantage throughout the playoffs. No, because that's the point.
Because you'd be tied with Detroit, and they would have to win out, and you'd lose both games. That's the only way at that point that you wouldn't get the first round.
Right.
The number 1.
But you could lock up the NFC East and the first round bye this weekend with a win
and a Detroit loss.
Yeah. Detroit win.
Okay, that's right. Because you have to have
you have to win the division.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
Stressful.
This is a little bit confusing.
I should just won last week.
If you would have won last week, all this would be really, really easy at this point.
But then it would have been boring, and we would have just.
I'm good for boring. I'm just going to say I'm
boring.
good with boring. Yeah. I'll just be on record as saying that.
I'm okay with that.
All right, let's get to some questions. You guys call us. 888-855-2297 is the number. Again, 888-855-2297. Or hit us on Twitter at Cowboys Break. We'll take a call first from Tony in New York. Tony, what up?
Hey, everyone. Appreciate the show.
Thank you.
So I just want to get started here with a few things that I've been thinking about recently. As a longtime fan, I'm looking for the Super Bowl this year. Not looking at anything beyond this year. So I just want to kind of keep this focused on that. So one of the things I was thinking about was that in mind is that I'm all about playing the best players right now. Whoever that is, it gives us a chance to win the Super Bowl this year. That's why I wanted to be out in the field. That being said, I want to bring up something that Nick had said several shows ago that I thought was interesting, made note of, was about next year in camp, which he said, don't bring Romo back if you don't want him to be the starting quarterback because he will get there and he will be the better quarterback. So if you don't want him to win the job, don't bring him back. So I'm going to assume that Nick's not imagining that another 8 months off for Romo is going to make him better than he already is right now. So that brings up the question, well, who is the best quarterback right now? And, is that possible that, we've kind of created the situation for ourselves where, like Brian said, he would have done this in week 8. He would have saw what we had from Romo. It would have been easier to sit Prescott at that point in time and hey, job well done, pat on the back, like you said, and, put Romo in there. If, Romo is not the 2014 form, then you put, Prescott back in, full of confidence, all that stuff. So if we created a situation for ourselves where we feel like, it's now a benching, Derek, I think you said in yesterday's show, where, maybe a lot of us fans, were calling for him to be benched, don't understand how football works or whatever. Well, I don't think I'm sure there's a lot of people, bench him after one game, but, just saying we want the best quarterback in there, and we don't know who that is right now. We have a problem where, and I'm assuming they see stuff in practice, that we don't know. I mean, we've had guys before that aren't playing, and you guys said, well, hey, they're watching them in practice, just know that they know, who the best guy is to play. Well, we don't have that luxury. So who is the best quarterback right now? That's the guy that should be on the field. Aikman was benched. He came back in. Things worked out just fine for him. Watch The Football Life. It's a great episode, but things worked out just fine for him. So I don't think that, sitting him, not benching him, Derek, sitting him is going to destroy the guy's confidence if, in fact, he is not the best quarterback on this team right now. So just want to get you guys' thoughts on that.
Well, let me just be clear, first of all. When I was talking about, fans not understanding what's going on with the game, it wasn't specific to Romo not being the better quarterback or anything like that. What I was saying was more in relation to the fact that this particular situation, everybody's trying to bury Dak at this point because of the bad game he had, and you can say it was 2 bad games, 3 bad, whatever you want to say. My point is, if you look across the NFL and you look at the quarterbacks across the NFL, even the great quarterbacks across the NFL, there are periods through seasons when they don't have their best games. There are periods through seasons when they're going to have challenges, when they're not going to put up the production that you expect them to be able to put up. The question is, how do they respond to that? And I think right now, that's what I want to see is how does Dak respond to this? I don't think we've gotten to a point yet where you can say Dak's not good for this team or Dak is hurting this team. I think there were a lot of things that happened in this last game that have really nothing to do with the quarterback that caused the Cowboys to lose. They lost the game 10-7. 10-7. It was the second loss of the season. When you put all that into perspective, I'm not ready to say that Dak is not the quarterbacks that gives them the best chance to win right now, the way this team is constructed and the way that they're playing. That's my only point is don't try to bury him after a couple games where he hasn't had great performances and say that means some grand scheme in some grand scheme that he's not the best person for this team right now. Yeah, that's the point I'm making.
I think Brian made the point yesterday about Aaron Rodgers, or somebody did on the show, about how he's had stretches of not looking hot as well. And then, obviously.
This season.
Yeah, this season. I think Russell Wilson has had those times. Maybe the only one who hasn't really had those times this season is Tom Brady. He didn't play 4 games to start the season. So you can't really do that to Dak quite yet. And I think you guys said this yesterday. Everyone expected there to be this time where he would have his struggles. And I almost think people were wanting to see that, to see what would happen then, because he can't be perfect forever. I mean, look at Carson Wentz and Jared Goff and these other young rookies. They're also having their own struggles. I think Todd Gurley came out and called the Rams offense a middle school offense. So
while the head coach got fired.
Exactly. Yeah. And he was the first overall pick. So you can't bury Dak yet.
But let's get to his question. What do you guys think? His question is very pointed. Who is the best quarterback on this team? Let's just say take everything else out of it of how they've played and what they've done. Who do you think is the best quarterback on this team right now?
Tony.
Yeah, I've said all along I thought the offense would be better. My only discussion, I can only go back what I said 6 weeks ago. I didn't want to come to this point. I wanted to figure this out. I was trying to be proactive, and while everybody was saying, "Oh, you got to ride the hot hand," fine. I get that. I'm okay with Dak playing. They've won 11 games. He got him in the playoffs. I'm okay with all that. But you could have saved yourself a lot of headache. You could have saved yourself the problems of having now the doubt, because there's now doubt whether Dak is really the guy. That's you've created doubt.
Well,
you have.
The question is, who has that doubt? Because it's one thing if fans have that doubt. Okay, that's
acceptable. But yeah, exactly.
The question is, does Jason or Jerry or anybody that makes the calls for this team, or even the guys in the locker room, do they have the doubt? That's really the more important
but they
part.
keep seeing Tony standing over there, and they're thinking now it's like, man, we've struggled the last couple of weeks, and they're watching the tape. They're seeing guys open and balls not being thrown. They see guys taking sacks. They see that. Mm-hmm. They're thinking, shit, we're down to the very end here, and it's one of those kind of things where, you're like, it's the playoffs are on the line, and what are we going to do?
Yeah, I mean, like I said to you yesterday, and this is one of those if situations. If they go to Tampa, if they play Tampa this week, and he doesn't play well in that game, and they lose. Let's say they lose that game. The Giants beat Detroit. Now everyone's breathing right down your neck. I think it's a question to be asked, because you're Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett is the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys because of Tony Romo. He's still the coach because of Tony. He knows that. Everybody knows that. So his loyalty, I'm not saying that it's got to be one or the other, but he's got to be somewhat loyal to Tony as well. Same with Jerry. If this ship goes down and it's sinking here, and now you lose to Detroit, and you've got a Ring of Honor quarterback that you didn't play that was healthy, I don't know how they could live with themselves with that. If they move from 1st to 5th, and they go 5th place in the playoffs and have to go to Atlanta or Seattle or something like that, I'm just saying, how far do you want to sink here? I mean, I'm right now it's not worth doing at all. But if it happens again, then I think it's something, and that's why we have daily shows that we talk about what could happen down the stretch and all that stuff.
See, to me, there's no, even though I believe in my heart that Tony Romo could make this offense better, I believe that. I can't prove that. I can't prove that unless I see him play. Mm-hmm. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to see in my heart, because he could go out there and stink just as bad.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we're sinking, and he's part of the sinking. And now you go back to the guy, and now you go back to Dak, and it's like, and
now you have confidence in neither one.
I've said this from the word go. ESPN, all these shows, it's not talking about Dak beating Green Bay and beating Pittsburgh, and it's not talking about that. They're showing the highlights of the ball flying out of his hands and interceptions and running for his life and getting sacked. That's what they're showing. So the confidence level of everybody is like, oh, here we go. Instead of like winning 11 games, it's now about, well, this guy can't play either. We're dead. Season's over.
Yeah.
But I can't guarantee you that Tony Romo is going to be any better. I can't. And I tried, but I can't. That's my problem.
And I don't know if you can fault the Cowboys for what they did. I mean, but they did say.
I will.
Well, but
I will.
After, I mean.
They should have known this.
All right, but what we saw on the schedule here is it didn't look like Tony was healthy even for Cleveland, or like they said he would be.
After the bye, you could have found. I mean, look at the bye. After the bye there, it's Philadelphia, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I mean, there was just. I mean, I was kind of thinking, okay, at Green Bay after the bye. I was thinking Philadelphia. I was thinking Cleveland. I mean, that's kind of realistic. That was realistic for him because it was a 6-week healing process and then 2 weeks to get ready for to get health.
I'm telling you, he can blame anyone. He can blame Sean Lee for this. Sean Lee is the reason why Romo's not the quarterback. I believe that. Because Sean Lee is the one that got sniffed out Darren Sproles on that stupid swing pass that Philadelphia should have never called.
Lost to Philadelphia and.
Well, yeah, because Philly makes that field goal right there. They go up 10. Dak's not going to – they don't have enough time to come back and win. Dak played bad in that game because he played great those last 2 drives. He doesn't really have those 2 drives, so now that's a bad football game and a loss. Now Tony comes back into Cleveland, and now Tony's the guy. That play, I'm telling you, that play by Sean Lee.
You want to play that game, though. Okay, then when Dan Bailey tells Michelle Tafoya before the pregame that in that direction that he kicked, the longest he thinks he could go would be 53 yards in 25-degree temperatures with the ball not compressing. But then when they have a 55-yard field goal, they decide to go for it just because it's before half. Yeah. Dan Bailey makes that field goal. They're now 10-10. Nobody scores in the second half or
Yeah,
you're in a different ballgame.
I just think that, to me, they missed an opportunity. They missed an opportunity. I mean, they could have, and they could have done it with Dak being on an uptick. Now everybody's got that. The Romo lovers are now out because they see blood in the water. They see a quarterback that's struggling a little bit, and people are starting to say, whoa, wait, you didn't get the division win. You didn't get a first-round bye. Wait, Tony could have done that. Tony would have put up more than 7 points against New York. That's where this is going now. All along, I just wanted to see where Tony Romo was at. Either A, keep winning, B, get broken in half, C, not be very good and move on. That's kind of what it was.
What I hope that happens this weekend is I hope Dak goes out and plays really well.
I hope so, too.
I hope they win.
I hope so, too.
I hope he does everything that this franchise wants him to do.
Yes.
I don't want to see that about Romo. If we see Romo, I hope it's Philadelphia when nothing matters and we can kind of get a little bit of a tune-up.
But I'll say this, even if Dak does that, and I honestly expect that to happen. I expect he's going to go out and play really well against Tampa Bay, and I think they're going to put Tampa Bay away. But that being said, I still think that when it comes down to it, for those people out there who want Romo back, anything short of Dak winning a Super Bowl, what they're going to say is, "I told you so." Romo could have won it. And my problem with that,
and I love Romo more than anybody.
My problem with that is
Nick and I.
But I'll say this though: for years, I talked about, and this was with friends,
about winning
family,
games,
with friends and family who always was like Tony Romo. The whole national.
Yeah, sure.
narrative. I've always said Tony Romo is a very good quarterback that doesn't get the credit for how good he is. But Nick, you and I were having that conversation yesterday, and what I said was that although I think Tony is a really good quarterback, history does not say that you put Tony in there and that means you're going to get a championship. That's not what history says. That's not what history says. And I think right now a lot of people are trying to kind of create this aura around him that, hey, well, he's our way to the Super Bowl. And the fact of the matter is that that's not what history says right now. History says that he's fallen short many times, and it hasn't been good enough. Maybe this team's different. I don't know.
But
I think it's too much to assume that
never know.
just because Romo gets back in there, then all of a sudden
there's no guarantee he would have been able to save that Giants game the other day.
Right, exactly.
There's no guarantee of that.
I think that fans are romanticizing him. It's like the best analogy that I heard somebody was saying is like when you break up with someone and, at first it's like, okay, we're better off. We're doing good. Time passes and you start to remember the good times. You only remember the good times. Yeah. You're not thinking about the fights or anything like that. And I think the same thing is happening to Tony. Fans are really romanticizing and putting him on this pedestal because they have seen those flashes. They have seen those games.
And he's been great for this team. Don't get me wrong, for this franchise. He's been great.
And he's very, reliable when it comes to knowing the offense and how to move them, put them in position. He's
Can't stay healthy, though.
Exactly. And so, it's kind of like we're thinking of all these good times. We're not thinking of Cliff Averill. We're not thinking of Jordan Hicks last September, hitting them because we don't want to. Why would we want to do that? So
let's take our final break. We're going to get back. We can get some more questions. Call us 888-855-2297, or you can do this on Twitter at Cowboys Break. We'll be right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Ready, hit! Get closer to America's team with Miller Lite. For your chance to win Cowboys tickets and tailgate passes to every home game, visit MillerLite.com/Cowboys. No purchase necessary. Starts August 1st, 2016. Ends December 12th, 2016. Oklahoma and select Texas residents 21 plus only. Void where prohibited. See official rules at MillerLite.com/Cowboys for details. With great beer comes great responsibility. Copyright 2016 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Let's say you're a person.
I'm a person.
A person who switched to AT&T and got up to $650 in credits when you traded in your current smartphone and bought a new one on AT&T Next.
I sure did.
And use it to stream competitive eating videos.
Oh, that's him.
Sorry, can't talk. I'm training.
Get up to $650 in credits per line when you switch to AT&T. Trade in your current phone and buy a new one on AT&T Next. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Switch off a limited time. Each line requires eligible port-in, trade-in, purchase, and service. Get minimum of $10 trade-in credit plus prepaid card and amount of device balance or early termination fee less trade.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, Cowboy legends, cheerleaders, and me, Brian Broaddus. Want to stay at the team hotel? With Star Sports Tours, you can. And our outstanding ticket selection is unmatched. You can trust the official travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit starsportstours.com to book your travel packages today.
When an injury keeps you from being active, you want one place that has the expertise to care for all your orthopedic needs. As the largest not-for-profit healthcare system in Texas, Baylor Scott & White Health is ready to care for you as a whole person. From athletic injuries to arthritis, you'll get personalized care from orthopedic specialists. So no matter where life finds you, today or in years to come, trust that we'll be there to care for you. To find a physician, visit BaylorScottandWhite.com.
Back to the lunch break.
Welcome back. It is the final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We're taking phone calls, 888-855-2297. But before we go there, time for a little Tay What.
Tay What? They are getting rid of Pink October. No longer will October be completely dedicated to breast cancer awareness for the NFL, but now teams can choose a cancer research, organization that they would like to support. Whether it's, one guy in particular has one, obviously.
So you're saying each player can make the decision for themselves? Is that what you're saying?
No,
or each team?
From what I read, it seemed like the team had to choose a cancer to support for that month. And this team is very interesting in the fact that they actually have a lot of connections to cancer, unfortunately. Gary Brown's daughter, she has cancer, not certain what type. Dak Prescott, his mom passed away from colon cancer. Gavin Escobar is a cancer survivor. So there's different connections that we'll be curious to see. But it's just a way for the NFL to give, light to these other cancer research organizations, which I think is good. And they've obviously gotten some heat for Pink October, with domestic violence and things like that. So
You're from Houston, though. Yes, the big cancer research center down there, right?
MD Anderson.
MD Anderson.
It is maybe one of the best in the country.
There you go. Maybe the Texans. Maybe it's like, okay, they pick their local their sites.
Yeah, my mother-in-law was she was treated there for several years. She was diagnosed with cancer.
I think that's what they're going to
years ago. Yeah, and still around. Yeah. MD Anderson's very good hospital.
Yeah, and I could see a lot of people just doing American Cancer Society or something like that, and kind of hoping it goes wherever, but it would be curious. I think that it was all stemming from the My Cause, My Cleats of having them.
So will the idea be that teams will still maybe do some things around the pink, but it'll be a team?
Yeah, I'm sure like a team like the Steelers with D'Angelo Williams, who is so outspoken about breast cancer and, has done a lot for them, might be that. Brandon Carr could be a huge guy if he's, on this team next year for breast cancer as well. So it will all depend on what they decide. I'm sure it will be maybe like a team vote type thing, and you get to wear your different colors, which I think is neat because there are so many different colors and
That'd be interesting. That will be interesting. But at the end of the day, it all has to go back to bringing awareness to helping people who are
get the funding for research, and a lot of good people doing great work.
Exactly, and that's the thing you're starting to see. I shouldn't
Keep
say starting to see, but there are
money.
people. There are some people who are benefiting from it. And you're seeing them being able to get past it and live beyond. Eric Berry's another guy that was diagnosed a couple years ago, beat it, and now back to playing football. So there are people, because of the research and because of the money and the awareness, there are people who are beating it. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, the My Cause, My Cleats thing, it's obviously a great chance to use these guys' platforms that, people are watching way more than probably other marketing that these cancer or different organizations are trying to do. So to hear the different stories that came out of My Cause, My Cleats was amazing.
Yeah, I think always using shoes, because we have this fascination with Michael Jordan and the brand and stuff like that. Everybody loves shoes, and the fact that they use their shoes in promotion, I think is a wonderful idea, because everybody likes to see that. I think it's so creative. It's like, I love NASCAR. I love to see the cars all painted up. I love to see the shoes. I like the way that the shoes were designed. And
wheels.
The wheels. Exactly. There you go. But I think it was really cool that, because America has a fashion. Well, the world has a fascination with shoes. Yeah. So it's neat to see them use that venue.
That's it. So.
All right. Thanks, Tay. Let's get back into some questions. 888-855-2297 is the number. We got a call from Chandler in Oklahoma. Chandler, what up?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
The 42nd time is a charm today, getting on the show.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Let's see here. The first observation I had from the game the other night, man, those holding calls on the punt returns killed us, especially with that good return by Bees. That was probably the most frustrating aspect, outside of our offense not really being able to get anything to go. But, that was bound to happen. I noticed with the play calling, this was the first game that I had some gripes as far as play calling. I thought that it would have been – I really like it when we pull both Frederick and Smith and get on the outside. I thought that was a real favorable matchup for us, using our big offensive line compared to their big guys in the middle, make them, get out and run every play. I don't think we did that as much. I think every time we did it, we had quite a bit of success. I don't know why we didn't stick to that. It seems like we just kept trying to pound it inside more, which wasn't working well. Those are just some observations I had. My question for you guys this week: does our O-line match up better with Tampa Bay, better than it did with New York, as far as our interior with Frederick and Martin against McCoy? And I don't know who their other guy is, but I know McCoy's pretty good. Does he give them a better? Do we have a better matchup with them than we do with New York? Because I know New York's got those big old beefy guys in there, and they're hard to move. And then I don't know if you heard, this is looking ahead to next week too, but I guess Stafford kind of hurt his hand last week.
Yeah.
Hurt some ligaments. So I was just curious to think or know your thoughts on whether you think that'll affect him down the stretch. And I'll hang up and listen to you guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, real quick, I'll just say that we're going to get into that tomorrow with the Tampa Bay guys. So let's table that discussion until tomorrow. We'll talk more about the depth on that team and kind of how that defensive interior plays. Yep. But with regards to Matt Stafford, what I've heard, he is playing. He played with the injury, but from what I understand, it's an injury with his middle finger on his throwing hand.
Right.
Which, and I was having this conversation with David Holman last Sunday when we first heard about it. It would seem to me, for a guy that puts as much heat on the ball when he throws it, that without your middle finger at full strength, or with your middle finger maybe wrapped up, I don't know what they're doing with it, but it doesn't seem like you'd be able to get the same control or torque If you've ever thrown a football, it seems like that would be the finger that kind of is that, and your index finger are the two that are kind of the ones that are most important, or is it more just the index finger?
It's more the index finger. Yeah, the ball's going to come off his index finger. If we saw what happened with Cutler and the thumb. I had heard initially it was a thumb. That's when we were like sitting down and Dave Campo, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, he hurt his thumb, and I'm like, did he hurt it? And he's going to. He's going to play. But no, I think that if it was his index finger, I think that's the biggest.
But you think with the middle finger, you can still control the ball and get the same torque.
As long as it's coming off his index finger. Now the grip might be a little different. It's not like he's going to play with a glove, to hold it in place. But when a quarterback throws, it's usually off his index finger.
You can't really shoot that up, right? You don't want that to be numb.
You don't want that to be numb, no.
Right?
No, you don't.
So you just got to deal with the pain.
Got to go.
Whatever the pain is.
Got to go. Yeah.
This will be an interesting one.
I think that, and obviously the Detroit Lions game, Detroit Giants game is interesting because it's like, yes, you want the Giants to lose so you can get that division and do everything you got to do there. But, with the way Detroit is playing as well, having them lose wouldn't be the worst thing either. So something good's going to happen out of that match.
It's funny, if the Giants were to win, and then maybe that keeps Green Bay from getting in. Maybe that keeps Washington from getting, isn't that kind of, because that's your fifth seed, right? So maybe by, I don't know, if the Giants, I'd take my chances playing the Giants again.
I would too.
I'm not, of all those teams,
afraid of that one.
Atlanta, I get. You know what? If there's twice that Manning has just played like crap against, they figured out how to play defense against these guys.
Right.
They don't run the football. You could talk about they took Beckham out of the game, with the exception of one play.
Right.
I'll take my chances with a quarterback that tries to throw you 4 interceptions a game.
Yep.
Instead of Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that matchup. I feel pretty good about that matchup against the Giants again.
Yeah,
I really do.
Keep Green Bay out of this thing if you could.
All right, let's get a call question from Twitter.
Yeah, I actually just saw an interesting stat that people were tweeting. It actually comes from Steve Dennis, a familiar guy you guys might know.
Thank you.
He said, through 13 games in Tony Romo's best year, 2014, Tony Romo was 9-3. He didn't play Week 9 versus Arizona. 25 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Dak in his first season is 11-2 with 20 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, if that helps anyone. So it's just kind of, obviously people will probably be like,
go back to running the ball.
Ezekiel Elliott, he had DeMarco Murray. So he was also the league's leading rusher in 2014. So it's pretty fair to compare them.
2nd and 10, they ran the ball and got 13 yards. Just keep doing that.
Yeah.
Just find a way.
I said
let's load it up and just run the ball.
The comparison there is that Romo had a great running back his year.
No, I'm just saying, people will say, their schedule was different. They didn't win as many games because they didn't have Ezekiel Elliott. Well, you have DeMarco Murray.
Right. What about the other 8 years of his career when he was just kind of carrying the team with no 1,000-yard running back? I mean, I just think, he had a great year in 2014 because they finally, the offense was a little bit more balanced.
He didn't have the running back the last month of the season, if you remember that.
And he went
remember how banged up the running back?
That was the best month of his career. No doubt
remember it was like 58 yards, 70 yards. I mean, I know
Wasn't he banged up too? Like
Murray was banged up.
One game he broke his hand.
Played the Colts game. I thought with the
Colts game. They destroyed the Colts.
Yeah.
The Colts were a playoff team that year, weren't
they?
Yeah. I mean, and that won him the division. That game won him the division. So
and it was funny too because we were talking about this the other day in a meeting. The Eagles before that December, you had the Eagles game where they just didn't play well, and everybody's kind of like, "Oh God, here we go. Wheels about to fall off." Right, wheels about to fall off, and then they get on this run in December, and so again, I caution everybody to not, when you have a loss, don't start going down that road. This is where you get to find out what kind of team you really have. How did they respond this weekend? They took a loss. Okay, great. They took a loss. They took a loss on the road. They lost by 3 points to a division team. What are they going to do at this point? Do they go in the tank? Maybe. Or do they find a way to now show, hey, we're better than that, and come out and beat a team like Tampa Bay? And I think they can do it.
Right, and I agree with that. And it's to say, well, other quarterbacks, great quarterbacks, have had bad games and all that. But this is just a unique situation, and that's why I think we're talking about it. It's unique because, when Tony has struggled, when Drew Brees struggles, when people struggle, that's fine. They're the quarterback. They struggle and bounce back. But most teams don't have an option for a guy that has way more skins on the wall, has won a lot more games, and his career is going to be a good career. There's no doubt about it. I mean, like, Tony Romo will have a good NFL playing career. You can't say that about Dak Prescott. You said earlier about the history shows Tony hasn't done this. Well, if we're talking about history also shows that, this 4th-round pick is going to get figured out at some point. I'm not saying it has happened yet, but it's some of these great rookies that come in and play like the world on fire quarterback aren't even starting anymore. So I'm just saying we don't know anything yet about Dak Prescott. We do know Tony Romo has won games, and he is a really good quarterback. So if the ship is sinking, it's really going to be hard to say, we're good, we're just going to ride it out, knowing you've got a guy that's kind of put you in this position to start with.
I really want to know. I want to go back, and I'm going to have to go back and look at this. I want to know what kind of statistics Tom Brady was putting up that year when he was the starter.
Somebody sent me that, and it was like a lot of 150 yards.
Exactly. I want to see that because I do know the Cowboys went to play them in New England that year, and they won 12-0, I want to say it was. And I wasn't impressed with Tom Brady. I was thinking, who's this guy? Literally, the best play he made was a play where it looked like he literally covered his face and just slung the ball downfield to Joey Galloway, I think it was, maybe. You tell me.
He was on the Cowboys.
Who was
Deion Branch?
Deion Branch. I'm sorry, Deion Branch. Deion Branch. Yes, Deion Branch. And just slung the ball downfield to him, and they caught it, and that was like the biggest play of the game, right?
Yeah, I remember.
But it was a game where Tom Brady didn't really do too much. And I wonder how much of that season was these kind of games where what we saw from Dak this last week. And I do wonder if people in New England were saying, why do we have this guy out here? We got our guy. We got Bledsoe. Put him back in. This team's good. They got a good defense. They got a good running game. Put him back in. He'll do better for us than Tom Brady. And I think when he is your quarterback, when you make the decision that Dak's going to be your quarterback, I think you said, well, those other teams, that's just your quarterback. Well, I think they've made that determination. This is their quarterback. It's not that he's just a backup
there's no doubt
anymore.
about that.
This is their quarterback. And if he is your quarterback, then you stick with him and you give him an opportunity to be able to come back from whatever game he has that might not be perfect.
It's my quarterback.
And that's what I don't know if I agree with that, but I think that's what the Cowboys have done. And
it's not you don't agree with Derek, you don't agree with what the Cowboys.
I wouldn't say that's my quarterback. I wouldn't have said that. I mean at all. I mean, I think that if they're going to say because they haven't said that. They haven't come out and said that. That what they've said was this was the hot hand. Well, it was cold as ice the other night, and if
I don't know about
if
that.
It stays cold, then I think
you don't think that's what Jason was saying this last weekend. Is that's our quarterback? I think that was his quote. That's our quarterback. That's the guy we're sticking with. Is that not what he said
for this game? I mean, yeah, for this game, but I mean, I don't think like for the future. This is what they're saying. I mean, I'm not saying for the next few weeks of this season. I don't think that they've closed the door on bringing Tony back.
Well, Jerry Jones had a great comment today, real quick. I know we're wrapping this up. He said, we'll know it when we see it for, bringing back Tony Romo. And I think that's perfect, because I think everyone will
carried
know.
Off the field. I mean, like, is it an injury or is it, I don't know what that means. That's kind of scary.
I think it's like, I think you brought up good points about this weekend.
Well, yeah, I do think that if everything falls apart the next couple of weeks, then I do think that they will consider that. But once again, I'm just thinking that's what we've seen so far of him going 11-2. I don't think that scenario is likely.
Probably
I don't think that's.
You're about to see how strong.
But we'll see.
You're about to see how strong Dak Prescott is.
Exactly.
I'm
good or bad. We're
mentally and physically.
We're about to find out.
I'll be anxious to see it. And again, if anyone. Don't tweet at me saying that I'm like pro Romo here. All I'm saying is that you have an interesting situation because you do have something to fall back on, somebody that's actually got you here. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope we don't see Tony at all in a meaningful game this year. And
that would be a good thing.
I'm pulling for Dak 100%.
All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We're back tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. is the time. Till then, for Nick Eatman, Brian Broaddus, and Taylor Stern, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?